Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone had a good New Year's, and I'm really excited for this video because this is a video I've been wanting to make for a really long time. I want to talk about efficiency in this game. So there are a lot of characters in this game, and there's a lot of different game modes, and it can be really difficult to know where to focus. So what I would like to talk about today is how to kind of think about your roster and the game modes and how to prioritize in that so you don't feel just like a donkey constantly chasing a carrot dangling in front of your face. So I'm going to start with game modes and then I'll get into the roster. And I hope that this will be applicable to all levels. I'll kind of assume level 85, but I hope that this can be applied to any level player. So starting with game modes, arena, both arenas kind of always reign supreme because those are your biggest source of crystals and you need crystals to fuel everything else. So if you're not doing arena, you're missing out on a huge resource that will help everything else that you want to do. So ideally you want to do both arenas, and the most efficient way to do arena is to just pick the most versatile and strongest toons, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit when I talk about your roster. But if you're not convinced on how important arena is, if you get first in both arenas, that's about 1,000 crystals a day. That's a lot. And just getting first in one arena for 3 days is a Carbonti. You know, Carbonti, if you're not familiar, is like the most important piece of gear that there is. And don't think that just because you're free to play, you can't get first in arena. You just really have to focus. So making it your highest top priority is really important. Now, after arena, you will always want to do your Galactic War. So Galactic War is going to be your best source, in my opinion, of the other resources. So things like credits and ability mats and shards to either build up your roster or get shard shop currency to buy more gear. Galactic War is going to be your source for that. And I find when I'm running really low on credits, it's because I haven't been doing my Galactic War. So in my opinion, the arenas, both of them, and the Galactic War are the game modes that you need to be doing and you need to be doing well. Now, after those, the game modes that you want to focus on are pretty much going to be determined by your guild. So arena always comes first, and then it's what your guild needs. So if your guild is pushing really hard to beat the heroic tank, that's what you need to focus on. Even if it's not that interesting to you, if your guild is really pushing for it and that's what they're going for, you need to help your guild out. Once they beat it and they kind of have it on farm, like we say, then you can kind of switch to whatever is interesting to you. So if your guild isn't really pushing really hard for a specific game mode, then that's a chance where if the rank war is interesting to you, if territory wars is interesting to you, then that's where you go and focus on that. It doesn't have to be the newest game mode for you to have to focus on that if your guild isn't pushing it. If the Rancor is old, but if that's what you enjoy doing, then do it. Just take arena and what your guild needs the most serious. I think there's kind of like a whole video on the side of how to spend resources efficiently, but the quick like 5-second blast is for crystals. Early in the game, you might want to do chromium so you can kind of build up your roster and get lots of characters, but later in the game, you'll basically only want to use it on gear in the shipments and energy refreshes, and that's kind of it. Especially as free to play, that's just all of your crystals are going to go there. Okay, so getting into the roster, and this is kind of the main focus of the video. This is why I wanted to make this video. So the way I think of a roster is it has 3 tiers. So you have a top tier, a middle tier, and a lower tier. So the top tier is going to be your arena because you need to be getting in the top. So your arena team needs to be high, pretty much as high as you can get them. And it will also include the OP toons, or the overpowered toons. So these are the excellent toons that are so strong in the game, even if you don't use them in your arena team, they maybe are just so good that you need to have them a high level. So a perfect example is Commander Luke. I don't use him in my arena team, but I have him very high, almost maxed out. He's like a gear he's gear 12. He has insane mods on him because he's just such a good toon, and I use him in so many other places, and I can always throw him into my arena team if needed. He's just that good. So Commander Luke, General Kenobi, Nihilus, Thrawn, Rex, those kind of toons that are just so good. R2-D2, those are the toons that even if you don't use them in your arena, you should have them at as high as you can get them. And then to be really efficient, use them in your arena team. That's why a hodgepodge arena team is so popular, because you have to gear those toons high anyway. Might as well double up and use them in arena. It's not the most exciting thing, but if you're trying to be efficient, that's the way to do it. And the other way that's kind of like a secret surprise of what makes them so efficient is to continue off the Luke example. My Hoth brothers are way lower gear than they should be. Hoth, one of them is like gear, I was at the mall earlier and there's lipstick on my hand. It's not a disease, I swear, it's lipstick. I'm not going to put it on my face, so I put it on my hand. But so my Hoth brothers are like gear level 7, level 70. They're way lower than they should be. But my Luke is so good and so high. My R2-D2 and my other characters that are much better and more useful characters are way higher. And they're so good that they can carry those toons. So if my Luke and R2-D2 and those kind of toons weren't as high, I would have to gear all those other worthless Hoth toons that I would never ever use otherwise up. So it ends up being more efficient for you in those ways too. Now, the second tier is going to be all of the toons that you use in other parts of the game, but aren't super OP. They're not in your arena. So this is going to be Phoenix, other rebels that you need for territory battles, Empire, bounty hunters, resistance, anything like that, raid teams. So any team that you will be using, but you don't need to take them all the way to the maximum because they're not in your arena or they're not a super OP toon. And these are going to hover between level like 70 to 85, and you're going to want to have them around gear 9 or 10 plus or minus based on what you're using. And what you want to do with them is take them to a manageable gear level and put some okay mods on them, and then use them in the areas that you're going to be using them in, and have the gear ready to equip if needed, but don't equip until you absolutely need it, and change the mods around before you equip the gear, because you can always move mods, but once gear is on, it's on. So a lot of my toons, like my Phoenix, I think all of my Phoenix are like a stun gun away from the next level, but I got the mod set where I don't need to give that to them. So I just never did. And they're way lower gear than they should be, but I refuse to give them a stun gun because I got my Thrawn with my mods. So get them to a feasible level, play around with it, tweak things, tweak speeds, see how you're doing, and just take them kind of just to the level that you need. The arena and the OP toons, you want to just max them out, get them as high as you possibly can. But these other toons, just kind of play with it and get them to just barely enough. And if you're doing a one-time event like unlocking Thrawn, just throw your arena mods on. You don't need to keep them on forever. It's a one-time thing, so throw the arena mods on there. All right, now the third tier is going to be your garbage toons, everything else. And, what you do with those is you want to take them to around gear level 5 to 7, and you want to take them to level maybe 55 to 70, and throw your absolute garbage mods on, like garbage mods, like 1-dot crit avoidance arrow. Throw that on there. Everything you have, throw that on there. And take their abilities to like level 2 or 3 to use your blue and your green mats. Hesitate on spending your purple mats, because if you're bolstering up your tier 2, you will likely run out of purples. They go a lot faster than you think. Like you can blow through 100 really quickly. And the reason that you're doing that, these are toons that you're not going to be using. But the reason you want to be training them and giving them that like garbage gear that you never use is because this really gives a boost to your GP, and your GP is your galactic power, and it's what's used in territory battles. So when you deploy in a territory battle, the number that you're deploying is being gotten from your entire roster. So that Coruscant Underworld Police that's sitting at the bottom that you're never using, you taking him to level 50 gives a really good boost to your GP. So you don't want not one single level 1 gear 1 toon sitting in your roster. I don't care how worthless they are, they need to be at least like level 55 gear 5 with some garbage mods on them, whatever you have left over. And that is how I approach my roster. I try, because I'm really bad at keeping focus in this game. So this is the things that I do to try and keep focus and be efficient. What do you guys do? Let me know in the comments how you stay efficient and stay focused in this game. And I'll see you all on the next video. Happy New Year! 2 raids, 2 territory battles, territory wars. Oh, cat, you want to go outside? Do you want to go outside? Oh, okay, I'll let him outside.